This key is a wild ride. We're taking a look at Cop's 16 Bracken Hide. We will be doing a key review of this for him. And obviously, I don't play DPS, but on top of the fact that, I'm doing a key review of a key of his, I'm also going to be commenting on some of the things that happen in this key because this is a very, very, very bizarre dungeon. And it's going to be bizarre for more than one reason. So, yeah, let's take a look. Immediately, we already have 3 deaths to the first pack. Now, I would always recommend bloodlusting on this first pack on Fortified. This is on the Fortified week that is currently going on, but by the time this is published, it'll be over. And yeah, that's a lot of deaths. I don't really know exactly what people died to there, but probably the guy spinning, which the druid should be soothing. Also, I apologize for the inky black potion. I feel like it makes footage really hard to see, but Cop likes playing with it, so it's gonna be on the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, the soothe it comes there at least, but typically that's something you can just move out of. The one guy said he got like caught in the cage or something like that. Don't know what that means, but in terms of the actual dungeon and what transpires in here, I would say that typically this dungeon's a pretty easy one, but these guys just find ways to die. And the thing is, it's a 16. Some of these deaths I'm really not understanding. Like I see these same mistakes happen on the keys I've been doing. Like I think we've done this key on 22 now, and it's like not killing anybody. It doesn't. The things that happen here in this key are like not dangerous. But one thing you will see immediately is that DPS chart, and this is going to turn into another small discussion alongside the actual dungeon, because this guy is just absolutely lighting this dungeon up. And we looked at him off video and stuff. He's only 434 or something like that. It's only like 2K score. Really not anything crazy, but he just has forset. So unfortunately, his forset doesn't save him there, so he does die. Now that was a very standard pack, so I'm kind of surprised. You guys tell me, is Vengeance like strong defensively as well as offensively right now? I assume there must be based on reading the forset, but this guy's just going to come back and chain die again. Now, you might be realizing partially why this video is unique. We're up to 15 deaths already. Yeah, it's 15 deaths in the first. We have killed 1 trash pack. Two trash packs, and we have 15 deaths already. But that's your pretty standard thing there where you die to the pack twice. I would really never recommend doing something like that. Like, if you think that pack is dangerous at all, let it reset. Do not release and run back into it as a tank, regardless of what's going on. But that guy just gets 1 shot. You know what I mean? I don't even know how you die to that. It's just a slime puddle thing. He's just standing in it and gets 1 shot. Rage Storm is not dispellable now that he's not here, but I guess the Evoker could have done it. Don't know who's taking those talents anymore, but yeah, I mean, Solar Beam come out pretty good. Good interrupt there. We want to try to keep these mobs not separated. Healer dies again to nothing. I mean, really to nothing. We're up to 17 deaths now. Man, Cop's weapon, I don't know what that is. Looks awesome. I don't know what that little proc is, but that is really cool. They're getting hit hard, man. This thing is looking like it's a 20, at least, if not higher. I have not seen this much damage taken on really any key this season, let alone on a 16. But yeah, we're good. We're good. We're going to go around here, which I don't I'd like to see what this guy pulls. I don't necessarily know what the point of skipping that pack is. It's a harder pack, but this pull is really, really small. It feels like if you want to be efficient in this area, you should just pull both of those, and you need the count anyway. Like later in the dungeon, we're gonna do some skipping, and I've had some trouble skipping that, and still, getting the count. I guess at that point, the guy's probably not gonna skip that hyena pack, but we'll see. We'll see what he does count wise, route wise. Apparently, the route's good. Cop praised the tank, and honestly, I would say I could see why, because like I said, this guy is doing a massive amount of DPS. He's not particularly geared. This comes off the back of a discussion about the changes that have come with the reset. And a guy dies again, drew just 1 shot. But yeah, the reset brought some big changes. Blood DK 8% damage buff. And the question immediately is that going to make them good damage dealers? And then when I see a guy like this who's 10 item levels lower than me and 2K score doing 150K on most packs and going to be something like 90K overall, it's like, oh no, blood DK is always bad. I get like I get it. I'm not really playing super offensively. There's talents I could take to dramatically improve my offense. I kind of, I mean, it would improve it, but honestly, overall, probably wouldn't go up that much. But realistically, yeah, I don't know, man. 8% damage doesn't seem like it's even going to touch Vengeance. I believe people would agree that Vengeance is the top tank right now, damage wise. But this guy does pull these over here to skip those mobs too. So he's skipping a lot of mobs. We'll see what the route looks like. This is a dungeon that has a lot of options route wise. But yeah, those mobs are skippable. You can just pull them into the water. I didn't even realize that. It's pretty cool. But yeah, in terms of damage, I am just reliably shocked by this guy's damage, and it makes me think like, wow, I guess I didn't realize how bad Blood was. I had seen Prop Pally and Vengeance like clips and things from higher, like from top players doing absurd overall damage, and I was like, well, these guys are just absurd players anyway. You know what I mean? Of course they're gonna do crazy on these specs. And my thought process is like put them fully invested into Blood, and I'm sure they're gonna make it look way better than I do too. But then you see a guy like this who's frankly like pretty below average in terms of key pugging potential. The character isn't anything special, just has the foreset really. He does have that beacon trinket, which I know is very good. I don't fully understand how it works, but I've heard it's really good too. But yeah, that guy's just, I mean, he's beating the DPS on every pack. He literally is beating the DPS on every pack he does. So that's kind of bizarre. But anyway, don't worry about that. Here we go. Now you'll notice haven't used Bloodlust yet. There it is. Here it comes now. So we did a full 10 minutes without using Bloodlust. And that's why I would advocate lusting on the first pull. It probably, I didn't actually pay full attention, but it's probably up for the pull of this boss. Obviously, that's with all these weird deaths and everything. But still, it would be up for this boss one way or the other. So on Fortified Week, I see no reason why you should not lust on that first pack. This is a very long dungeon timer, 35 minutes. So you should definitely be looking to get as many lusts in here as possible. And there should be no reason you can't get 4 in. But yeah, this fight's pretty. We had some weird stuff going on with this fight. Cop has the arrow, and the demon hunter is going to soak that for him. Very good. But yeah, that bleed destroyed us, and as you see, it pretty much just destroyed that druid again. So that guy dies. Don't really understand how he dies to that on a 16 fortified, but he just got slaughtered. I think he might have been standing in something else too, but I'd love to sit here and watch some of these more in depth, but if we do that, there's gonna be an hour-long video. There's 19 deaths already, 19 deaths, and it gets worse. It doesn't stop. So yeah, let's see what route he does here. This is definitely the big decision. I think almost everybody's going right now though. So looks like he agrees. Does he? Okay, yeah, kind of agrees. We're gonna pull this trash that we definitely don't need to pull. Mostly, I feel like this is just not a good pull. Very inefficient trash. It feels like. But I guess you need count somewhere, so you're going to pull these. This area in general is definitely, it seems way better for pugging in general. I've never really seen anybody advocate for left side, but I have seen somebody say it's more efficient, it's more count, or it's like more like count per minute spent or something like that. Or whatever. I don't remember even. But people were saying like that's the route you would go if you wanted to be as optimized through the dungeon, and deaths were never a factor. I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless, this definitely seems like the way to go. In terms of the actual gameplay of Cop, I don't actually play Windwalker, so maybe you guys have some advice for him. Yes, I know the UI is obviously always going to be commented on. He and I have been talking about this for years now. And I will tell you, this is the best version of it that I have seen. So if you're just seeing his footage for the first time, maybe that surprises you, but it was like very bad for a very long time, and this is very good compared to where it was. And I think there's still some things like whatever's going on behind. It's like some of the weak ores are underneath his action bars, but that used to be like literally all over the place on the screen, and it's only in that one spot now. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's actually Cop's first real death. He did die because they wiped earlier, but I think that might be his like 4th death. But yeah, gonna run back, gonna fiddle with inky black potions while we're running back. That's definitely not advisable for the timer. But hey, sometimes you gotta change the way the dungeon looks. It looks like they're like fully wiping in that pack. That was a super aggressive pull for that guy. Definitely would recommend not going to like. That's why I don't think that first pull was effective because those mobs are really small, and it's if that's your first pull, then you're gonna have either a bunch of really small pulls or pulls like that nonsense. That's really just a dumb pull. So, oh, there we go. We got the deaths on the screen. So yeah, healers died 7 times, cops died 3, and then the druid died 6 or something like that. So, but most of these are just straight up full wiped. Honestly, I think the tank's a little bit overzealous. I wonder if maybe he just got the 4-piece before this key or that day or something like that. And he was like, let's see how much damage we can do. Because he's reliably beating the druid every pack. If you haven't noticed that, the druid DPS is constantly like really bad, like super low. And he's going to finish like 20 some K lower than everybody else. But yeah, Evoker is doing very well. Cop's doing pretty well. And then, yeah, the Demon Hunter is just blasting, like blowing my DPS out of the water to the point where I'm really. I had not realized it was this bad. I did not realize the discrepancy was this severe. But yeah, he's taking a lot of fucking damage, to be fair. And the people who were talking about health pool, I'm not convinced because this guy's only got 900k, and that's at 100% health. It doesn't. I guess he has meta, which gives him a lot more health. But yeah, I have a lot more health than that without much effort. So anyway, that's fine. But yeah, I would say that if we're critiquing cops like actual stuff, um, I would definitely say like the weak ores. I see. The thing is, this is the Aphanar pack or whatever, and me and Cop used to both love these, but I hate them now. They're pointless. He did it in a way that was like, not to say it's lazy, but it's like it was really the only option for him. He basically made them so they could be modular. Like these weak aura packages are known to be something that any player can use at any. Okay, 2 people get hit by the breath there and die. That's worth commenting on. So now we're up to 26 deaths. Oh boy. But anyway, the Aphanar stuff is like meant to be so any player at any level could use it, and then it kind of fills the spells based on the rows or whatever, based on what spells you've talented. And because of how the talents now work, another breath goes out. Because the talents now work the way they do, you basically need this super wide bar because otherwise you can't be sure what's happening here. So this is just like this is a pretty basic pull for. This is not that aggressive. Yeah, they're getting slaughtered. Like this is bad. 29 deaths. Guy says should probably kill that totem, bro. You got hit by a frontal. That's interruptible. No doubt. No, you got hit by a interruptible frontal. That is the thing that cracks me up the most in keys. When people say things like minor optimizations when a macro scale mistake occurred. It's like, yeah, you're right. We should kill the totem, but you know what we all should do? Not have 3 people hit by 2 avoidable frontals in one pull. It would be a lot more productive for the success of the pull. Um, but yeah, anyway, the whole Aphanar thing, like I just like look at there's now 8 things on the bars. It used to be like 4, depending on the class. It's just way too wide, and I feel like it takes up way too much real estate. And then especially as you see like the things underneath it, they're unruly. Like I would turn those off if it was me. I wouldn't use this personally ever, but if it was me, I would turn probably about 50% of this shit off. Especially like rotational skills. Like I don't know. Do you as a DPS do you really need something tracking? Like I don't fully understand how the spec works, but I'm pretty sure Tiger Palm does not need a weak aura, right? But that's just what Aphanar is doing now because it's like meant to be literally anybody at any level with any talent build could use it. So when you basically have like talent builds that are absurd that nobody would ever use, those have to be considered too. The weirdest one I saw was Shaman, because you can actually not take. I think it's either Storm Strike or Lava Lash. It might be either. Like you could not take either of those, one of them, and so that the talents have to be built around not having one of them. Whereas in the old days, those two would be like the building blocks of the weak ore, and then everything else would be around them. You know what I mean? But now they're just another talent that you could choose to ignore. So, but yeah, I don't know. I would definitely think about that. It doesn't really. This is just Nothing Cop does here is really even for me. I don't know anything about Windwalker. You guys can tell him how he could improve his DPS, perhaps, but I don't really know anything about it. And frankly, he does pretty well. Like his damage is solid. He's the only one in what I would consider an acceptable overall range. The Demon Hunter does so much damage that it kind of blurs the line, though. But the Evoker does well most packs, but his overall is bad. I don't know if it's because he dies so much. And then the Druid is just getting carried. Like that dude straight up carried. But yeah, we're at 29 deaths. Lust has been up again. So super. I mean, that's a bigger issue than anything, really. Just sitting on Lust for an hour. But yeah, 29 deaths at this point. We have what looks to be about 12 minutes left in the dungeon. The weak ores. Yeah. Is it 11? No, I don't. That's when they killed Hack Claw's Warband. So let's see how this boss goes. We're going to Lust here, I assume. Yes. All right. So 4 or 5 weeks, still less than bosses. I'm never opposed to that, but I think it would have been more productive to use it on those big pulls we were doing earlier. This boss getting slaughtered. Cop single target's really good too. I mean, Windwalker's looking good, man. I'm not really seeing anything wrong with Windwalker. But yeah, I'm not really seeing any problems with it. Like his damage is really solid. I think he's playing it the best he's ever played it. I know a lot of people will probably comment on what talents he's taking. And you're welcome to do that. I'm not going to stop anybody from commenting on that, but just be aware, like Cops like me, dude, he plays talents that might be mathematically suboptimal. He plays them more because he likes them than because he thinks they give him an advantage. Like for me, it's kind of like 50-50. Like Umbilicus definitely is a very strong defensive talent. I just love it. That's why I always use it. But obviously his DPS is a little different. One big mistake we have, all 4 of those ads get the cast off. Solar Beam is not up, but we do have 2 monks. Obviously, Leg Sweep could have solved that, but it just doesn't matter in a 16. The funny thing about this key is that there's like a million problems that really should be considered and looked at, but none of them actually cause any actual mistakes in this dungeon. It's just a bunch of shit that doesn't make any actual sense. Like I don't. Oh, what is this? I don't really understand why the deaths that happen occur, especially the ones early. Like they don't register to me as things that should be dangerous on any key level, let alone a 16. But anyway, maybe these guys are under geared or something. Like, but there we go. This is a really aggressive pull, and I don't. Are other people doing that? You definitely don't need those 2 mobs for count, and those mobs are not good mobs to fight with a guy who's already dangerous. This mini boss I actually got like flamed for pulling earlier in the season, which I don't think is like I don't think it's bad to pull this mob. I really don't, but it's pretty efficient count, and as long as 3 people don't get stunned every time it goes out like just there, I think it's not a bad thing to pull. Cop's doing his work with the affix though. That's pretty good to see that. So many nameplates fighting him here as well. Look, it's hard to click the a really strange place to tank him, but yeah, I wouldn't do this. I think really under any circumstances. Is he gonna skip it though? Okay, so he knows about the skip. That's really strange to me that he chooses to pull those 2 mobs. I guess it's either just to slightly add efficacy to fighting the mini boss. I wouldn't recommend just because it's already very dangerous. Oh, this guy, what's with the markers? Somebody put a bunch of markers down and then the guy just pulls the pack anyway. So this is the pack to skip for sure. As you see, very, very dangerous. We have 30 deaths right now. We're going to get a 31st. Somehow they do the hard part of the dungeon very easily. But yeah. This pack is definitely probably the hardest in the dungeon, fortified especially. It's got a lot of health, and these hyenas, they fixate and stuff, so with enraging, it's very difficult. Good work dispelling Kyle. I have to say, yeah. And Kyle mentioned this, and I do want to give him this this credit as well. If you guys didn't see the season 1 video he submitted for a full key review, it was a Court of Stars. The dungeon, the video of the dungeon is kind of become famous because I like shit talked this Mistweaver who was shit talking him the whole time. This guy was just like completely counterproductive to the atmosphere of Pugging. But honestly, Cop was really playing very poorly in that dungeon. Not as poorly as he thought he was playing, but yeah, obviously, like the guy made a big deal about him not using it defensive when he died to a mechanic that is meant to be dispelled by the healer. It's like, well, yeah, he didn't use it defensive, but you didn't do your job. That kind of stuff really bothers me. But at the end of the day, there's truth to it. And Cop said, like, man, I feel like I've come so far since that Court of Stars. And that's saying something because, Cop's done keys a lot. We did the season 4 thing where I taught him how to tank. Slow and steady wins the race, guys. Like, you don't have to push yourself so far that you burn out. I think Cop's taking the right approach. Healer dies again, seemingly to the hyenas. This boss is actually kind of tricky. But I don't know. People don't seem to bring the hyenas through the traps very often. But that is it. I will tell you, spoiler alert, there are no more deaths. Now we have we have 6 minutes. We have 6 minutes to get all of this trash done and kill the boss. With 31 deaths. No more deaths coming. It's going to be an upgrade. How about this? I just cannot believe it. This is really, I would definitely recommend pulling everything down here too. All of those mobs are super fodder. Like, now going and getting them alone is really dumb. Really inefficient. These mobs don't do anything. Like, they do nothing. If anything, they just mask the 2 elites that are in the pack. But yeah, we're going to be fine here, dude. So I'm trying to figure out how. It's really the big question. That healer almost dies again. It doesn't. Whoa, we're going to the left side. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. Well, certainly not because I'm the tank. Oh, interesting little thing here. So he's going to use that imprison to skip here, which is an interesting idea, but we need 8% count. So we're just going to skip that pack, which I guess is possible as a Demon Hunter, so there's no reason not to do it. Now he's going to pull these out like he's scared about aggroing extra stuff. Very interesting choices that are not needed. The patrols in that room will not come in question. Like, they don't come anywhere close. But this is nowhere near enough count. So we'll see what he gets. With 5 minutes remaining, decision making. Oh, he pulls that pack. Really inefficient pulls. And there's also the patrol up here. Really, I feel like these are super inefficient pulls. Definitely should have gotten the mobs that you tried to skip earlier. This is not a review of the Demon Hunter's key. But unfortunately, his role I'm more familiar with. Yes, definitely not the right. It doesn't really matter, though. I mean, it's a 16, but yeah, I would probably just not skip the stuff at the start that you skipped and just probably not pull this back. But see, he's trying to get super fancy with it, pulling it out. And that's like something that only a Demon Hunter would really be able to do. And I guess it works out, but we still don't have count. So now we're pulling a 3rd pack in here. At this point, all you needed was another. This is way too much count now. And I'm pretty sure that poison kills you. I've never seen anybody actually go up there, but I think on Mythic Zero, I saw somebody run up there. There's something up there that you need for leatherworking, I think it is, and maybe alchemy. And you can't go up there until the boss dies. I'm pretty sure if you go up there beforehand, you just die. So be careful fighting these because they got the fear. The fear could fear you up there. But so we do have count, and we have 3 minutes to kill the boss. Bloodlust will be up. Let us watch this last boss have an absolutely stunning key. 31 deaths coming down to the last pull of a 3-minute fortified boss. Let's see what it looks like. Dragging the boss around. Okay, this is pretty basic now, but in the beginning of the season, it was a pretty big deal to keep the totem separated from the puddle. Totem's been nerfed like dramatically. Guy named Cake Slayer has come online. That's a great name. Okay, another totem. This one doesn't matter. By the time the totem comes out, the puddle is gone. Here comes the swirls thingy. So yeah, basic defense, not really important. Looks like it's hard to fail at this level. 16, this fight's super easy. Ooh, we're standing in that. Not ideal. Cop got distracted by the spawn of the afflicted mob, and he stood in the puddle, which the more stacks of that you have, the more dangerous the small circle mechanic is. So if you have mad stacks of that, you're pretty much going to get one shot. I think it's how, does it hit everybody, or is it just based on the person? I don't know if it's like cumulative amounts of stacks. So yeah, Lust not being used. Look at this. Lust not being used. The healer who died 10 times reminding the evoker. We get it though. We now have less than a minute. Or no, we have like about a minute left. Boss is dead, right? Easy mode. This is crazy to me. And honestly, this is why you should not leave keys over small mistakes early. Now it's a 16, so let's preface this. If you got 31 deaths in a 21, you're not upgrading it. There's just no chance, really. You'd have to be doing absolutely absurd dungeons. DPS, I mean. But look at Cop got 71 points for that, by the way. Cop's so excited, dude. This is great, right? The guy goes started a bit weird, but we got it. Yeah, that's a little bit more than weird, I think. 31 deaths. Look at the overall chart. This is something I do want to look at now. Presumably the overall. That is the overall chart, right? I'm 99% sure. Let's make sure it changes from whatever the boss's chart was. Yeah, okay. So it changes just like my add-on, but so overall, this is why I'm making the video, really. Can we like look at that without the YouTube thing? Anyway, 102K from Cop, 87K, and then he did actually the same damage. He did 137 million point 42, whereas the Evoker did 137 million point 83. So almost identical damage as one DPS, and he did 40 more million damage, 25,000 DPS more than another DPS. Now, granted, if I was in this key, I would have beat that guy too. But that's a lot more damage than my character can do. I don't think an 8% buff is going to change that. But hey, you know what? I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about Demon Hunter. You guys tell me what you think about this key. And like I said, man, when pugging, it's not out. This dungeon's really loose, and frankly, a lot of dungeons are really loose right now. So especially sub 20, just get it. Just go after it. Don't worry about deaths. Don't worry about mistakes. It's really not like this key is upgradable the whole time. They wipe 3 times. 3 full wipes. Terrible bloodlust usages. Terrible CD usages. Really not a good route. Like I mean, it doesn't really. There's probably way worse routes you can do. But yeah, I'm really shocked by that. So let me know what you guys think, and if you have any advice for Cop, please leave it down below. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.